Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knutson, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knutson.
Hello and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knutson. Whether you're listening to us on the radio, on NBC's great affiliate, KCAA out in California, or watching our podcast on one of our many platforms, we appreciate you and thank you for subscribing on our YouTube channel, Cowboy Entrepreneur. Today, we got a very fun show for you and a great guest, lots of fun stories. Dale Armstrong is on the show, and he's the founder and CEO of United States Mounted Shooting. Dale, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Scott. It's a pleasure.
Oh, man, there's so many questions I have, but first, you got two cool patches on your shirt. Do you mind telling me a little bit about them? Let's talk about the Total Feeds first.
Yeah, I'm actually a dealer for Total Feeds, and Total Feeds is they are a title sponsor for our World Finals every year. And,
Awesome.
and it's actually a really, I found Total Feeds by accident. I had a horse that was having a lot of foot problems, and he was having abscesses really bad. And I had a friend, a really close friend over in Tennessee, said, "Hey, have you ever thought about trying Total?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, try it." And then that was in 2019, and my horse hadn't had an abscess since. All we did was switch the Total, so I was sold on it right then. And then when I started the association, and I invited Dr. Harry out, and we met, and it's been a great relationship ever since.
Yeah, Dr. Anderson is the man that told me about you and the association, and man, I couldn't say enough good things about him. Man, he's such a great man, and the company is so strong for sure. And I'm so glad he gave me your name. And now tell me about your other patch. What is that? That's pretty cool.
That's our brand. We're called United States Mounted Shooting. So I wanted to incorporate the flag, and I'm an Air Force veteran myself. So
Thank you.
I'm real big on patriotism, and so I did a deal. I said anyone that can come up with a marketable logo for United States Mounted Shooting, I said I'll give you a free entry to my very first finals. And the guy that did this his name is Chris over in Tennessee, and Chris Hunley, and it took him exactly about an hour. He sent me that, and I put on there. I said, "Look, the competition's over. Chris won it." This patch that is our brand, and we since copyrighted and trademarked the brand. It's an awesome brand, and we're proud to carry it.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. I can't wait to find out more about the association, but I really want to find out more about you, just so people can meet you and listen to you and hear your stories, because I had so much fun a couple of times we visited. So did you grow up on horses?
Well, I grew up in Arkansas, and my mom, she was married to cowboys, and they kind of helped me get started in the cowboy way, and kind of taught me what it's like to be a cowboy and rough stock and performance horses. And we did that all the way up until, I got ready to go in the Air Force, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I always wanted to come back to it at some point, and I just never did until just here recently, in 2018, I got back in it. But it's an amazing deal. Anytime you can be involved in Western sports, it's a great group of people. It's always great to be part of.
I love it. Well, first, thanks for your service, man. That's just awesome. And that's one more reason why we wanted you on the show for sure. And so growing up around the cowboy and cowboy culture, do you remember your first horse or maybe your first cowboy thing you ever did?
I do. I had a little Shetland pony, and I was probably 7 years old, and that was the meanest little kicking thing I ever seen in my life.
You said Shetland pony.
Yeah, if anybody's been in the horse business more than 5 minutes, they know that Shetland ponies are just mean. But I had that little pony, which I loved it. I got along good with it. But unfortunately, he had ended up coming up positive on Coggins, and we had to put it down. But that was my very first horse, and I learned at a young age what it's like. I mean, I think I was probably 7 years old, and I had to put my first horse down. So
it's tough, man.
It is.
It doesn't matter how many times they bite or kick. It's still a hard deal to do,
Right.
But that's the thing about being in the West or Western lifestyle. It teaches you, from the beginning to the end and how to take care of things.
It does, and I had some really good teachers along the way, even the people that we rodeoed with. A lot of the old timers, they take me under their wing, uh, and they just taught me so much. And I wish I'd have paid attention to them a little closer, but I picked up on a lot of their good stuff and their bad habits too. Of course, I mean that's just part of the cowboy way. But we had a lot of fun with it. We did.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So in rodeo, we brought that up a little bit. What'd you do? What events?
What I rode saddle bronc, and then we did some speed events on run jackpots on the weekends and things like that, and
Awesome.
with performance horses. I would climb on anybody's horse that would let me. Actually, we didn't have a lot growing up, and I loved horses, and we'd go up to jackpot horse shows and stuff on the weekends, and we'd do every speed and timed event there was. If there was a timed event and I could get somebody to pay the entry fee, I'd ride in it, and we just had a great time with it, and there was a lot of times that, times were tough, like I said, and sometimes I couldn't pay entry fee and I just had to watch, but even when I was watching, I was learning. So it was a good deal.
It's just being around the culture. There's nothing better. There's so many great people in the Western world, from the sponsors like a Dr. Anderson to, just great horse owners.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, and that's the thing is, I've seen my whole life. I mean, I'm not but 47 years old, but I've seen so many great people in Western sports industry, from show horses to rough stock I mean, they're all very helpful, and they're not going to leave you broke down on the side of the road. That's sure.
Right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So do you remember your first saddle bronc ride?
I don't know if I can.
That's the way every rodeo story starts.
Well, the last one is the one that I really don't particularly care to remember, but I got hurt pretty good. But
okay.
It was, I drew a pretty rank horse and rode it, and for about 10 seconds in the chute. I never got out of the chute on it.
That's the most dangerous area.
It is, and it kind of ended. That kind of ended the bronc riding, and kind of ended everything for equine sports and the Western sports for a while. For me, that was pretty much what ended my until I started back. But I mean, it still didn't take the love out of my heart. It's still there, but yeah. I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. There's nothing like cowboy in a room when you got 12 bronc cars in one hotel room. That's a lot of fun,
Yeah, it is. It sure is. It sure is. When you were riding performance horses, what event did you ride as far as performance?
The most events I run in is I run pole bending, and I run keyhole and speed. And keyhole was my favorite because, I mean, you take them horses down the arena wide open and just lock the brakes down, slide them in a hole, just like a key, like you'd put a key in, and that's where the name come from. And you just slide them in there, turn them around, and spin them right back out of the arena. It was a lot of fun with that. I enjoyed that a lot. And I had a horse, his name was Turner. I started riding him when I was about 8. And this horse was absolutely amazing. You could literally bring him in the arena, take him right in front of the pole bending pattern, and just toss the reins up on his neck and just hold on. He would run that whole pattern by himself and right back out of the arena. I mean, he was a pleasure to ride, even as a young kid, he was probably 15 too. And I was 7, 8 years old, and I was out there on a full blown horse, and he could run it. And we won a lot because of that.
Right. I mean, it's fun, man, when you're riding horses, because the horses enjoy it as much as we do, and when they have the talent and the mind and the spirit like that, there's nothing better.
That's right. And a lot of people, they don't realize that a lot of people that's not in the Western sports industry that are just fans and stuff, they don't realize how well trained these horses are. Yeah. These horses are very well trained. They enjoy their jobs. They enjoy what they do. If they don't have something to do, anybody that knows a horse knows they'll go out to pasture and tear everything you got up because they're just looking for something to do. So I mean, these horses really enjoy what we do, and what we do with mounted shooting, it really gives them a lot to think about.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about it. I'm glad you brought it up, man. That was a good segue right there. So what came to your mind that said we need to do this? We need to create United States mounting shooting.
This is a funny story. I'm actually going to back up further than that, Scott. I'm going to tell you how I ever got in the sport.
Okay.
I had a drunk buddy of mine that's a neighbor, and he was dating a girl that was doing mounted shooting, and he called me one weekend. He said, "Hey, let's go down to Tunica, Mississippi and watch cowboy mounted shooting." I said, "What is that?" I said, "What do they do?" And he's like, "Man, they ride around and they shoot balloons off the horse." I said, "Well, that sounds rank to me. Let's go." So I went down there, and I went down and I sat in the stands. And at that time, I'm going to do a little name dropping too. At that time, the best cowboy mounted shooter I have ever seen rode in that arena. His name was Cody Clark out of Tennessee. And he was riding a yellow horse, a Palomino horse, and that horse was absolutely amazing. I mean, the horse was turning, and I mean, he set a fast time. He set fast time on that. And when I saw him make that run, and he was shooting them guns, I was like, I'm doing this. And I actually went up to the gun vendor there at the event, and I bought a set of guns, didn't even own a horse. And I was like, I'm doing this, and
I love
that's
that.
how I got in mounted shooting right there, just because I saw it, and I just automatically fell back in love with riding horses again. I didn't even own a horse.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that one good ride turned you back into wanting to chase that sport?
Yes, sir. And then, I had a lot of help when I first got started here in Arkansas. There's a lot of people that live around here that have since kind of hung their guns up. But they were a big influence on me getting going. They taught me the ropes. They taught me how to shoot, how to ride and shoot at the same time. They taught me the ins and outs of this sport because, at that time I was riding. There was only one association at that time, and I was riding in it, which is my competitor now. And they have like 87 patterns. So you never know what you're going to be up against when you ride in the arena. So it's kind of tough because you don't do the same thing over and over like I did in keyhole or poles or barrels or something like that or speed. It's something different every single time. So it was a lot to take in when you're first getting going. Right. But I embraced the challenge, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be good at it. And I bought 2 amazing horses. We still have them horses today. They're 20 years old now, but they're amazing. I'm still competing on one of them right now. So it's just that's how I got going. And and then there was a guy here in Arkansas that was producing jackpot events. And he was running kind of on the same format that we run on, and with just a few differences. And I started helping him produce events. I was just going and helping him, just setting up things and really paying attention, watching what he was doing. And then about a year or so later, he decided that he wanted to go do something different. His kids were getting a little older, so he moved on to something else. And I just kind of like, I really love this, but I think that guy was on to something. So I just kind of took his idea and I just ran with it.
Right. It's all about being in the right place, right time. We've all heard that. And you were, but you put yourself in that position, which some people don't. And I love how you didn't just start the association. You went through and started riding in different places and learning from people. And that's just a great business model.
Yes, sir. I think if you're gonna, just like this association was born just, I can tell you it was born because I was riding with my competitor, and I didn't like how their format was. It just wasn't really what I was used to from coming from rodeo, and I wanted to be more like rodeo, and that's kind of that's why we started the association, is so I could continue this sport, but in a different format. So that's how it got going.
Man, I love that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about the different levels and the different the different patterns and age groups. And because you really have something for everybody, even if they don't own a horse, they can still come out and probably participate. So, we're going to leave them with that because I know there's some people right now thinking, how can we do it? So we'll be right back on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knutson, with Dale Armstrong. He is the founder and CEO of United States Mounted Shooting. And we were just talking about how he started the association. Now let's talk a little bit more in depth, because I know people want to know how to get involved and what kind of horses do you that participate. So let's start with our favorite subject, the horses. What is the main horse breed that's affiliated with your association?
Well, just like any other timed event, Western sports discipline, your American quarter horses they're pretty much gonna dominate. There's some awesome quarter horses out there, and with the Cowbred horses that are mixed with the racing horses, they make very good mounted shooting horses. So mostly it's American quarter horses. They're the dominant breed. But I mean, these riders are riding everything, Appaloosas to paint horses. I mean, there was a Frisian horse that I just saw run the other day, a giant Frisian horse. It actually blew my mind. And I mean, these people ride quarter ponies and Mustangs. I mean, to do mounted shooting, you really don't have to have a highbrow cat, or something like that. I mean, you can go out here and get you a pretty sound horse, and most horses can take gunfire. All of them can take gunfire one time, I can tell you that. That's what we always joke. We say, yeah, you can shoot off of it at least once, but most horses, they will take gunfire, and we have a process where we gun break horses, and it's very simple, very easy to do. But you can go to the sale, and you can pick you up a $1,500, $2,000 horse, and you can get started in this sport. Because I mean, you don't have to be the fastest to get started. As long as you got a good broke horse, you're good.
Well, I think you were saying that some people show up and they might not even have a horse, but people just loan them one just to get them started.
Yes, sir. We have clinics and stuff across the nation. We have clinicians and experienced riders come in, and a lot of times we've had riders actually come out to watch the show. We've had, fans come out to watch the show, I should say. And at the end of the show, they were like, "Hey, I'd really like to try that. You know, I grew up riding horses. I hadn't had any horses in a long time. I don't have any right now, but I'd really like to do that." But you got to be careful in mounted shooting when you say you'd like to do that, because somebody will hand you a set of guns and a horse. And they're real good about that. They're real good about saying, "Here, just take my stuff and let's see if you really like it." You know, and I can't tell you how many people have started just like that by these mounted shooters just loaning them a finished out horse, a set of guns and gun rig, and saying, "Here, try it out. You know, see what you like about it." You know, and it's awesome. We do it all the time. Like, we're going to be doing a camp in Decatur, Texas, and we're going to start from nothing to running a pattern in 1 week. We're going to do that over 1 week, and you don't even have to own a horse if you want to come to that camp, because we're going to have finished out horses there that we can put riders on and see if they really want to do mounted shooting.
I love that. So if somebody's listening and they want to go to the camp, how would they find out information? I
would tell them right now to be watching USMS2020.com, or you can go to the USMS Facebook page and just keep an eye on that. Right now, we're still in the development stages of that. It was a fun little deal that we just talked about with the people at NRS, and they do a lot for us. They're actually coming on as one of our corporate partners, and we're going to do some training stuff there. And that's what the owner of NRS, when he built that facility there in Decatur, Texas, he intended that for that to be a training facility. So for us to go down there and to do to do a camp where we're teaching people horsemanship, proper gun management, how to put the two together. I mean, that's really what NRS is founded on. They wanted to be a training center, and we want to help them reach their goal as well. So
absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
Well, you got some great corporate sponsors for sure. I love it because it's one more thing for the horse and the rider to get to do. It's one more great event. You know, maybe your horse isn't the number one cutting horse, but you can take them this direction. Might be perfect, and it just gives you more of a relationship with your horse and just another outlet.
Right, and there's a lot of we get a lot of barrel racers and a lot of ex ropers, and actually people that are still roping. I actually rope myself, so but there's a big crossover from the other disciplines. But once they realize, hey, my horse can shoot, it don't mind the gun. The next thing you know, and that's what. When I say I want to take this association towards rodeo, that's my biggest deal is I want to get them other disciplines coming and riding with us to show the world, you can do this. And the shelf life of a mounted shooter is very long, So.
Yeah, that's a big key. It's a long life. You can stay in it for a long time. But it's also good for those performance horses that have one job to sometimes do something else a little bit different, because when they go back to their one job, they're fresh.
Absolutely.
Like a barrel horse or team roping horse that always goes left to do your event. It's going to make them think a little bit. And when they go back to going left again, they're going to have more energy, Right. And I love that. I love that.
Just like barrels and poles, you take barrel and pole race, pole bending,
right.
We actually send some of our mounted shooting horses to barrel trainers and pole trainers, because if you really look at our patterns, we're running barrels and poles at the same time. So because we're maneuvering around poles and we're circling barrels, and anytime you can shave 0.4 of a second off on a barrel turn, I mean, that could be the difference between $200 and $500 on that run. So
absolutely,
that's why we use them. Big crossover.
I love that. I love it's a male and a female sport too.
Absolutely. The only thing, with my association, we don't do a gender split. I know that's something that I don't really particularly care for. And I think mostly because the women they're kicking the tails off us already. So they're not going to complain. They're already beating us. But,
I mean, heck, what didn't you say there was a teenage girl that came out and did just a crazy run?
Yes. Actually, the girl that just set a world record for us, her name is Abby Esau. She's out of Claremore, Oklahoma. She's actually in college now. She just turned 21 years old.
Okay.
And, but she set a record of 6.8 seconds. She went in the arena, shot 5 balloons, switched guns, shot 5 more balloons, and back out of the arena in 6.8 seconds. I know a lot of ropers that can't even tie a cow in 6 seconds.
No. That would be a goal.
Yeah, it was actually amazing. I couldn't believe it for a couple of days. I was like, did she really do that? And I'll tell you the truth, Scott, I came home, I put my guns on, I was like, and I just loaded them, went out back, and I tried to shoot my guns, just standing on the ground, shoot my guns 10 times in 6.8 seconds. Couldn't do it. I was like, well, I'll never hold that record because I can't even shoot my guns that fast. You know, and actually did it riding a horse. Absolutely amazing.
This sport, it will humble you as much as you love it. You know, golly, and you never know who it's going to be. That's what's so fun. That's what's so fun.
And that's the deal is, you know, I have adopted so much stuff that I learned in rodeo and applied it in this association that is making it good for the contestants and making it, giving them opportunities to profit and to move forward and to advance themselves. And, you know, and the Western sports industry has grown so much over the last couple of years. It's ever since COVID hit, the Western sports industry just went through the roof.
Absolutely.
And I think it's because people want to get out and do something. And cowboys and cowgirls, we're going to ride our horses, and we're really not going to let anybody tell us we can't. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think that's kind of why the Western sports industry went that way. But it's you know, it's a lot of fun, and it, you know, I've seen some rough stock riders that have a hard time doing anything after they get done riding rough stock. Well, this sport's not rough on them, so they can do it.
I love that. And, you know, I think it is because we want to get outside. We want to be with nature and ride horses. But I also think it's because of the people. The camaraderie in the Western industry is so awesome. You know, we talked about some of your sponsors and just the people in general, loaning you a horse and your guns. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else.
No, sir.
And that's awesome. What was it like, man, your first event as, you know, this thing you founded? You're in charge of it, and you have your first event. Can you say where that was? Do you remember and what that was like?
Actually, I can tell you. I started this in 2019, and like I was telling you, there was a guy here in Arkansas that was helping me out and trying to get me going, and I said, well, I'm gonna start producing my own events. So I did, and I produced a few of them. And we started out at Crossroads Cowboy Church in El Paso, Arkansas. I was a member of the church, and that's where we started. And we was holding shoots there, you know, 3 or 4 years what we were doing. And I remember my first event that I was actually producing, and I was actually riding the big paint horse that my wife rides now, and he's a big powerhouse, and I was so stressed out, Scott. I mean, you couldn't have dunked me in a tank full of water and got any more sweat on me, any more water on me. I was sweating so bad. I was so nervous. I wanted the event to be amazing. And I don't even think I had a clean run the whole weekend because all I could think about was production. But I still enjoyed it. I loved it. I just really loved doing production and you know, and helping people and you know, but that was my first experience, and the one thing I'll never forget is how much I was stressed and sweating over it. I was like, this got to be good, you know, if this is ever. And at that time, I wasn't even expecting to be where I'm at today. And it, you know, a lot of times people, they'll dwell on the negative, and a lot of times if you look back and think, you know, just like this deal here, we're talking about the very first time I ever rode and produced my own event, and I was so nervous and scared, and I just wanted to be. I was like, I'd just like to have an association and offer this to the world, and here we are, you know, 4 seasons later.
It's amazing how fast. That means you really put together something incredible. But I appreciate you so much, just that being able to say, man, I was scared, I was nervous, because I think there's so many business owners, whether it's a T-shirt shop or starting a big association like what you have. man, you want it so bad and you work so hard. And it's the first day you're open, it's a little bit nervous, you know?
My great granddaddy, he told me something, and I've tried to strive for it ever since. He told me this as a young child, and he told me, he said, "Son, you work till you don't have to introduce yourself." And I've tried to do that ever since.
I love that.
And that's what I've been trying to do. And anytime you can do something that you would love to do, then you're not really going to work. That's the way I see it.
That's absolutely right, man. I love that saying, man. That's awesome.
Right.
It's the truth, though. It's the absolute truth.
Right.
Yeah.
And my granddaddy, he had a lot of great sayings. I mean, he was born in 1904. I believe it was 1904. So I was very blessed to be able to get to know him, and he lived to be 100 years old. So he had so many great sayings and so many things he taught me along the way that I've carried with me today. And I try to pass on even to my riders, some of his philosophy, but old school cowboy philosophy, sometimes it's a little rank.
Yeah, it is, but deep down, it's all with heart. It's to keep you safe or help you be a better person. That's what it comes down to. So give us one more story on your granddad.
Well, my great granddaddy, he was a row crop farmer and a cattle farmer over in Des Arc, Arkansas, which is not very far from where I live now. And I stayed over there every summer. I was on that farm. I was either working cows or I was, putting in rice levies and speaking of rice levies, I'm going to tell you this story about him. This is a great story. And,
okay.
It's kind of funny. One time we were out walking and we were putting in rice levies, and I think the cottonmouth was originated in Des Arc, Arkansas. I really do. I think that's where they started at. There's so many there. And anyway, he pulled a levee back, and there was a big old cottonmouth laying there. He just took his shovel and banged it on top of the head, tossed it over to the side, and I don't even know if the snake was dead. But he said, "Them stupid old things." He said, "I always in the way," and that's just how a man he was. He was just so rank. He didn't care. I think he would have picked it up and threw it out of the way. But he was a good old boy. I mean, he wore long sleeve shirts and cowboy hat and everything. I mean, boots, jeans, the whole 9 yards. And in Arkansas, the humidity here is like 2,000%. So in the summer, it'd be so hot and miserable. But my great granddaddy, he was just cowboy to the core, and I watched him do that for years, and I always looked up to him for it.
That's cool, man. It's cool how that influence and the military influence and all those together are now, going across the association, and everybody that's a member gets to have some impact of that.
Right.
That's really cool. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how people can maybe get registered, how they can start following the association, and then next steps, and even discuss the finals and where that is and how people can watch.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We'll be right back after this quick break on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knutson, here with Dale Armstrong, the founder and the CEO of United States Mounted Shooting. And man, just having a great time just talking about how the association started and hearing some stories and kind of what led to him starting this company, this association is just kind of taking the country by storm. So I guess first, let's talk about the classes and the formats for people that are curious about what it's like.
So there's 2 associations in the nation. Of course, United States Mounted Shooting, and then our competitor. And we run on our competitor. They run on classes, and they have it divided 24 different classes. And for some people, they enjoy that. Me particularly, that's the reason I started U.S. Mounted Shooting. I tip my hat to the association. They've kept this sport alive for 25 plus years, and which allowed me to start my company as a branch off of what they were doing. And so I'm gonna tip my hat to them for that. I always will.
That's cool.
And they kept it going, and it allowed me to get going what I'm doing. But so they run on 24 different classes. They're actually gender split, and where we run on the D system, just like barrel racing. The only thing about us is if you have a penalty, knock down a barrel, miss a balloon, run over a gate cone, any kind of penalty, that knocks you out for the round. So wow. The way we do it is we pay out per round. So, and then our champion is determined over the whole event by points. So, and my whole theory behind doing per round stuff goes right back to rodeo, because there's a lot of times that I rode a long round horse and got paid a little money on it. Well, I was able to eat at the dollar menu that night where I got bucked off in the short go. So I want riders and contestants to be able to have the eligibility to win money every single time they go in the arena. So, and then at the end of it, we have a big prize at the end, just like everything else. It's the way it should be. So, I pay out per round. We have 4 divisions. We do run on a progressive payout scale. So, which that means the 1D, they get paid a little more than the 2 a little more than 3 a little more than 4. And the reason I do that is because there has to be incentive for you to get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're gonna go out here, the guy that's running in the 1D, that's working hard, he's riding his horses 4 or 5 times a week. He's doing his due diligence and training, and he's going out here and he's really working hard at it. That rider deserves to make more money than the guy that's riding once a week.
That's right. Right.
And I believe that, and I'll never apologize for that. That's one thing about the way our format's set up. A lot of people think that we are just 100% competition driven. Well, they're absolutely right. And when they say that, I tell them thank you, because that's what I wanted to do.
Well, that's the rodeo format.
It is, and in rodeo, in any discipline, and even the barrel racers that may see this, they'll tell you, that the D system is why there's 500 entries at a barrel race now. You put up $2,500, $3,000 added money, and you'll be running barrel racers until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
and the D system is what has done that.
Right.
And when it first come along, barrel racers, they hated it. They took, everybody. So a lot of people resist change, but if you look back, change is what made it better.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is what. So when I started this, so I just kind of took what the BBR and some of the pink barrel, and I went in and I actually started reading all the rules. I did my homework, and
Good.
I read the rules for all these big barrel associations, and I was like, how do they do it? So but we don't do the second splits like barrel racing does. Some people that see this, they may say, well, what's their second splits? We don't do second splits because
I
the
got you.
way I look at it is we have 60 patterns, 60 different patterns in our association. Every time you ride in the arena, you're doing something different every time. So it's hard to set second splits when it changes. It changes just in and out, in and out. You don't ever know. Like in barrel racing, you run the same clover leaf. You either run it to the right or to the left. It's the same pattern every
Right.
single time. That's why you
Right.
can do the second splits. And
Right.
but we don't do that. But the format is it's very good for winning money because you figure the way we do it, we only split the money 4 times. That's it. We take, it's you got 35 in the 1D, 30 in the 2D, 20 in the 3D, and 15 in the 4D. That's the percentages that it pays out. And
I
so you
love
can,
that, man. I love
and
you're giving people a chance to make some money while they're there, and not just 3 people. You got a lot more opportunity to make that money and
right.
move up and make more money.
Yes, sir. And the thing about it is as you see these riders getting better,
Mm-hmm.
they'll come in and they might run a 3D time and win a little. They win some money in one round. Well, the next round, it's a stage that their horse really likes and that they really like. Well, next thing you know, now they're winning 2D money.
Yeah.
So it gives them the opportunity to jump up there and win money and until they get consistently to where they're in that one division all the time. And that's one thing I always say about USMS is clean and consistent will win you money and it will win you championships. You got to
Absolutely.
be clean, got to be consistent, and it'll win you championships in USMS. And that it is proven itself true over and over and over again. And
Yeah.
and the system, I think the format is just it's because you can make money on your way to the top.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just and these riders that have 1D legitimate 1D horses that are running consistent 1D time. Well, I'm gonna tell everyone something that most people that know in the horse business know. These horses only have so many runs in them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no matter what discipline they're in, they only got so many runs. So we actually have horses coming up to take the place of these great horses we're riding now. Well, this gives that pro or upper level rider the opportunity to start and season horses and not blow the horses up. I
Right.
think this format is good for training horses and keeping them sound where they're still running at 25 years old because it's not
Mm-hmm.
pushing them. And that rider can still make money seasoning in a horse. He might not make 1D money, but he can make money.
Yeah, I love that. And then there's so much life left in that horse. By the time the other one's coming up, you can still, do whatever you need to with that other horse. He still has a great life too.
That's
So
correct.
I love that. You're letting the riders make what they need to make and keeping it healthy and safe for the horses. And that's wonderful, man. That's so cool. So your world championship, and that's a big event. Where do you hold that?
Our world championship is the second weekend of June every year. It's at Lazy E Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma. If you've never been to Lazy E, you owe yourself to see that facility. It's absolutely amazing. It's like 2.5 arenas in one. And
Mm-hmm.
we actually, when we're running in the main arena there, we actually have a whole nother arena right behind us that we got horses warming up in. And then actually we use 2 arenas. We run simultaneous arenas there. We're running 2 arenas at the same time. It takes a lot of staff to run that show, but it is a great show. We have round parties, just like the NFR. I mean, everything I do, you don't have to be around me very long to know that I'm all about rodeo. I love rodeo, and so everything that I do, I try to emulate rodeo. So we have round parties every night. If you win a round, you win a buckle, and other prizes to go on with the buckle every single night. I'll feed you every night. The association, we actually catered every night of the finals. It's a 3-day finals. We cater every night, and we have a lot of fun and play a lot of games, and it's a great experience. The second weekend of June every year, Lazy E is a place to be.
And that's so awesome. I love how you listen to your members and let your members have a part. I mean, even design the brand. That's so important. I love to give back for sure, for riding all year, to get to go to the finals and doing the buckle ceremonies, because not everybody rodeoed and such. And this is like that, except you have a nice, safe opportunity to do it for a long time.
Yes, sir.
So it's the best of both worlds.
And we have riders. Actually, my granddaughter is 4 years old, and she's actually riding the big paint horse that I started on. So,
that's so cool.
I mean, he's 16 too, and she's 4 years old. So she kind of looks like a gnat riding on an elephant. But yeah, we got riders from 4 years old to 84 years old.
I love that, man.
And one rider, I'm going to drop his name. His name is Denny Lemons. He's out of Texarkana, Texas. He's 84 years old, and he's still whooping butt. The man won doubles this year and everything. It's unbelievable. I hope when I'm 84 that I can just get on a horse, much less compete on it.
Well, I love that. I love the memories you're allowing people to make while they're making money. And that's huge. Have that knowledge, around you, the horse knowledge, for those kids to pick up for someone that's 84. Invaluable. So if somebody wants to watch an event or watch the World Series, is there a way they can do it without having to leave their house?
There is. We actually run a live feed, we post the link on our website and on our social media page that all you got to do is click on the link. It takes you right to our show. We actually live feed more than just the finals. We live feed every corporate event. So like we're going to be in Arizona. We're going to be in Buckeye, Arizona the first weekend of February. That event's live fed. Then we'll be in Memphis, Tennessee in March. That one's live fed. Then in June at the finals. Then NRS National. They're all live fed. We have been running them through Wrangler Network, and we're actually trying to upgrade a little bit. The Wrangler Network has been great to us. We appreciate Wrangler and all they've ever done for us, and we sure appreciate that. But my theory is we got to get off the internet. We got to get on TV.
That's right.
And
that's the next step for sure. And as fast as y'all are growing, that just kind of makes sense,
Yes, sir.
Just more cameras on it, and more cameras and more viewers.
Yes, sir. And I believe this sport has just, it was pitched for a long time that this is the fastest growing equine sport in the world. And I'm going to be honest, it's not anymore. It's because anybody that's in the Western sports industry, they're going to know if you're telling the truth or you're bull crapping them. And I'll tell you right now, breakaway roping is the number one growing sport in the country. Wow. As much as I would like to sit here and tell you mounted shooting is number one, it's breakaway is just really took off. But breakaway is already on TV. They're part of the PRCA. They got the WPRA now. They're part of the PRCA, the NFR. But when the NFR adds your class, then you've made it.
Yeah.
And I don't foresee us letting us come to the NFR and shoot guns, but I mean, I would love to, but I do some work with the PRCA. I do some work with rodeo contractors, with PBR contractors. We do our shows in rodeo events. A lot of fun. The crowds go crazy.
Really do.
It's amazing.
Well, just the excitement and the speed all together. I mean, it's hard to beat. And then when the people are good behind it, it makes it even better.
Yes,
that's what people want to get behind. If you only have a couple hours a week to really relax and watch something, you're going to watch the people and you care about, that are right. And you throw in some good horses, that even makes it better.
It does.
For sure, for sure. So what's next for you and the association?
Actually, Scott, I've never stopped really. I just got home from the AQHA World Championship, and I qualified really well there. I qualified. I was one of the finalists, but then I kind of blew it on the last run. But I mean, you win some, you lose some, you know.
Right.
But just got home from that. We actually have this weekend off. I'm gonna help my neighbor work some cows and whatnot, and then the next weekend we go out to Kabul, Missouri. Then the next weekend we go to Rainsville, Alabama, and then the weekend after that we're in Palestine, Texas, and it just keeps going. You know, it's just.
Man, you just said a lot there. You know, that's the cowboy way. You got one weekend off in a couple of months. You're going to help the neighbor work cattle. And that's just, it's in the blood, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I love it. You know,
I do too, man. I just talk about it and start smiling.
Oh,
you know?
There's nothing better than, you know, if you're having a bad day, and just like my wife, she started a club here in Arkansas, and she's going to start doing events, and it's a nonprofit club. And I told her, I said, look, we need to do some therapy stuff. You know, we need to do something for these veterans that are struggling. We need to do something for special needs children and stuff. That I said, man, because you walk a good, kind-eyed horse up to somebody like that, and it'll change their day
instantly. Yeah,
and, you know, and if we can help somebody see the earth and see what's going on in this country a little better, and it make them put a smile on their face, and maybe they're a little depressed. And I can tell you, ain't nothing like a good kind-eyed horse.
That's exactly right.
That'll walk up, put his nose on you. That'll make you just say, you know what, maybe things aren't as bad as what I thought. You know?
That's right. It's amazing, you know, and that's why I love horses so much. You know, you got 1,000 or 1,100 pound horse, but they get so soft and so gentle. It's almost they do know. It's not like they almost do. They do know whether it's special needs or whether it's military related or just a senior citizen. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Man, it's so fun to watch and be a part of too when that happens. Those moments.
Yeah, it's just, you know, and when I started USMS, I didn't start USMS for a job. I'll be honest with you. I didn't start this to be a job. I started this because I wanted to make a difference. Yeah. I wanted to offer something to where cowboys and cowgirls could do this sport and actually have fun and make some money at it, you know. Yeah. Because that's the only way anything in the Western sports industry, when you talk about performance, it's not, if you can't make money at it, it's not really going to go anywhere. And, right. You know, we spend a lot of money on these trucks and trailers and horses and tack and this and that and feed, and you got to be able to get some of that back. You know, if you're going to be competing, especially when you're paying entry fees. Yeah, you can't just do it for nothing.
That's right. And you go somewhere safe to ride and run your horse on and meet good people, and that's what it's all about. The
camaraderie and mounted shooting is unbelievable. I invite you out, Scott. You need to come to one of my big shows. Maybe come to something. And you would not believe these people. They're just amazing, you know, and that sucked me in off the get-go too, because when a lot of things have changed since 1985 to 2022. Yeah. It's a big change in this country, and the way people do things and talk to each other, and the way that mounted shooters talk to you, and the way that they interact with you, and the way they'll just literally rip their shirt off and hand it to you if you need it. It takes me back to 1985.
So I love that, brother. I love that. That's why I encourage everyone watching or listening to our show to get behind y'all and just watch. And then they'll want to come out, and then they'll want to be a part of it. And, you know, there's always room for good people and good horses.
Yeah, be careful when you ask, because I'll flat hand you a set of guns.
Yeah, don't be trying to impress your wife by saying, hey, I can do that, because you might get called out.
You're right. And I have a dead broke horse that I would put anybody in the – when I tell you my 4-year-old granddaughter's riding, that ought to tell you. If you say I want to try mounted shooting, well, take old Titan and let's go see what you can do.
You'll get the pain out there. Hey, real quick, we got to close this deal, but how many states are y'all in now?
We are in 36.
Man, congratulations.
In 3 years, and we're at 2,780 members. Unbelievable. I am so blessed.
Oh, well, you know what? You put out a great product. You know, you got good people and good horses, and they can get behind you with what you've done, and it just is a perfect recipe for success for sure.
Well, and the thing about it is, Scott, is I get to come on and do fun things like this with you, but it's not me. It's not me at all. I just had the vision and to say, hey, let's do this. I have a team behind me that you would not believe. Some of the greatest people in the world. And my team members, my partner, Kenny Pecora, my traveling secretary, Tammy Esau, they're amazing people, all the way down to my judges, to my range masters, to everything. I have a great team that has got me where I'm at. And just like Dr. Harry Anderson, with his commitment to USMS, has helped us get there. And I have a whole host of sponsors that have really come on board and believed in what I'm doing. And we have some new ones coming next year. And if you don't mind, we got Justin Boots, Hatco Company, which is Resistol, Charlie One Horse Stetson, to Giz Silversmiths out in California, build one of the prettiest buckles you'd ever hang on a belt. We've had so many great sponsors that have got behind my team and has put us where we're at. And I can't thank them enough. It's just,
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Dale, I appreciate you so much. And once again, thanks for your service. Thanks for those stories on your great grandpa. And I love how all that's trickulating down to the association and continued success. And thanks for being on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Scott.
Hey, well, thank y'all all for listening to us on the radio on KCAA and watching our podcast. We really appreciate you subscribing to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.